All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We got game number 3 coming at you. This is a best of 5 series, so with it being 1-1, well, we at least have 2 more games, potentially even a 5th and final game. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but looking forward to, again, more of a good series here. So I'll break CBK, joined by What You Got once again, and New Generation taking on Hard to Communicate here in this amateur tournament. It's been a great event. Yesterday, of course, the group stages, 7 teams competing. They did a best of 1 against every other team, so 6 matches in total. Ultimately, the top 2 teams advancing on to today, and that's how we got here. So it's been fun. It's been a good time. We had the first 2 games that felt good, but even series as we hoped for. The bans have completed, though. Balfour, Bushwhack, Flux, Plague Rider, Accursed, and Circe. And now the picks once again to come. And, we see our Lord Salforus was picked up both those first 2 games right away. We'll see if they do it again this time around. But Demented Shaman is going to be the first pick. And, well, they did win with the Demented Shaman last game. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality.
So they're not going with the first pick, Salforus, this time around.
Nope.
And it did work really well for them in game 1. But they got addressed in game 2, so maybe we'll still see a Salforus, but maybe like later on in the draft. We'll have to wait and see. They end up going with Monarch and Madman so far.
Yeah, a bit of a takeaway. I mean, well, kind of. I mean, Monarch, as you mentioned, though, is really just a top-tier support, so they'll gladly pick it up for themselves, of course. But, yeah, Demented Shaman Monarch was on the side of New Generation last game, so... But, yeah, they take it for themselves, go with the Madman carry. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're going to go with Kraken, and they have to go another different support. So Pearl, that's a good option too. A similar mentality there. A bit more defensive, but also does bring offense, though, at the same time.
Yeah, so this draft's looking very similar to last game. I think the Pearl was Monarch last game, right? They had a Monarch and a Demented Shaman. So Pearl pretty much filling that same role, I would say, just a different hero choice. What's nice about the Pearl, at least this game, is they can purge the Chrysalis from the Monarch. So I think it was a smart pick coming up from this is New Generation, right? On Legion, yeah, okay. So that was a good pick to recognize the Pearl as a somewhat useful option here.
That's interesting. I didn't think about it. So you can't actually purge the Chrysalis.
Yep.
And then, yeah, Pearl's extra value there. That's really good. Swiftblade, Soul Reaper, Predator, Magnus. Yeah, the Swiftblade ban. Can't say I'm surprised. Obviously, that's another hero that New Generation ran last game that did very well for them. And with a similar lineup, you'd think they wouldn't mind doing that again. So going to force them to at least be a different carry of choice, as Magnus, Gladiator, and Icor is how the bans will finish off. So now back over to Hard to Communicate, as they opened with the Madman Monarch.
Yeah, I still have no idea what they're planning to do here going into game number 3. They picked up what I believe will be their carry very early on. So they have choices now if they want to run more cores or if they want to go more like initiator style of heroes to follow this up. They can maybe suspect that the Kraken will be played like similarly to last game where he was stuck in a solo lane. They go with the Keeper of the Forest. Well, they have the Monarch at their disposal, so that's like the biggest counterpick to the Keeper, being able to remove root from everyone. Oh,
whoa!
So that changes things up quite a lot, I would say.
It's like an old school lineup.
Sorry, you said old school. Offlane Keeper is what I was trying to say. Offlane Keeper, and then Jungle Parasite. I think when I saw them run this, I think it was this team anyway. When they ran this Offlane Keeper, they had a I think it was a Balfagor in the jungle, and we've been seeing Balfagor getting banned, I think, the whole series. You can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but Alina Prime is like very notorious for playing Balfagor, and he played it like all day yesterday, so they're not going to have Balfagor plus Keeper combo. And they also paired that with a Flux, but that's another hero that gets banned most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we haven't really touched too much on blind bans this series, but they're targeting those bans specifically because HTC was playing that all day yesterday and doing really, really well with it. So
Yeah.
very smart of them to ban those away, but they don't have Keeper plus Balfagor specifically.
Now, it's interesting, too. I wonder if they already have a Pearl Demented Shaman on the Legion side, and what I'm getting at is that they're likely not going to pick up a jungle now themselves, knowing that
Probably
they're up
not,
against a jungle because they have those two. So maybe that's also part of the mentality of going that Keeper Parasite right there as well. But yeah, really committed to having the dual support at this point. They're going to go Hammerstorm and Lodestone will be the one to finish it off. Okay, well, that's interesting because, yeah, does that mean Kraken mid?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So this will change their strategy up a little bit from the previous game where they ran similar heroes. Now they have, like, I would say Hammerstorm is more of a hard carry compared to the Switchblade because he wants to farm jungle stacks much earlier than a Switchblade would that they had in the previous game. So I think they will look to tri-lane here. Unless they want to run something like a Demented Shaman Lodestone or a Demented Shaman Kraken lane, which doesn't really feel all that scary, I would say. And I wonder if they're going to try to go long lane with this Hammerstorm. Seeing as how they're up against the jungler, you have that option to run the long lane tri-lane versus the short lane tri-lane. Typically, when you run Hammerstorm, you can do either. But generally speaking, you want to focus stacking your own jungle so Hammerstorm can snowball. I'm going to be curious as to what Legion wants to do here. But the last pick for Hellborn was a Wretched Hag. And they were previously lacking like that big teamfight follow-up to Keeper of the Forest. I'm really glad that they picked something to pair with that because they only had one pick to do so. And that was one of the drawbacks to running the Parasite. The Parasite is more of like this single target, kill one guy, pick people off around the map type of hero, which doesn't really synergize with Keeper of the Forest playstyle. He's going to be wanting to go in, team fight, brute everyone down. Parasite's not really the jungler that kind of matches that playstyle.
I really like how we've seen just so much diversity too with strategy and hero picks, like especially on this Hellborn side for hard to communicate. I know Fallen One, the mid player. I mean, he's played a completely different hero every single time in the mid lane, from Gravekeeper first game to Rally and now Wretched Hag. So stuff like that. Of course, now we're in the jungle with a Parasite, the Keeper of the Forest. You mentioned they ran it yesterday, but offline Keeper. It's awesome to see that they're mixing it up quite a bit from game to game, but. To the Hammerstorm trial lane, it looks like they are going to go more the safer route. Let's just go to our safe lane, let's go to our bottom, and make sure that Hammerstorm can not only have a good time down there, but as you're talking about, I think what's key is stack your jungle. That is so important for this hero to just really accelerate and be able to truly take over the game. So that seems to be the direction they're going to go here.
Kraken's actually... Oh, never mind. Okay. I wasn't sure what he was doing there, but yeah, so I think the Wretched Hag is a much better fit for Fallen One this game than the Rally. Rally is like, yes, he's a good laner, which is why he was able to have a good start last game in mid. But the problem with the hero when you run it core, like position 2, it doesn't really flash farm, doesn't have like any farming mechanisms. It's very reliant on having high kills and like good laning phase and like continuing that, which we saw him kind of taper off due to having to make rotations last game. And this is like part of the reason why we normally see Rally in more of a supportive role or like a position 3 role where he can get like one item and then he's really useful, but he doesn't really do the same thing that like a Wretched Hag or a Gravekeeper does, which is, they can not only flash farm, which is really important when you play a mid hero, but you can also like gank and create pressure at the same time. So you have the options to do both. Rally only is very limited in that sense. He can only do one of the two. I think he'll have a much better game here on playing the Wretched Hag this time around. Yeah. And it'll also like, it won't force him into a specific playstyle. He has the flexibility now to like, he could play slow, stack up the jungle, take out jungle stacks, play for his farm, play for gnomes and Grimoire timings. Or, he can be more aggressive and play with the Keeper, play with the Parasite if he wants to.
So so far. A very even matchup in that mid lane. 6-0 Kraken, 6-0 Hag. So keep it on par with one another. I've been having fun watching this bottom area too. Parasite is in the Legion jungle. He actually takes over a Minotaur here as Demented Shaman starts to harass him a little bit. So, but Parasite only being level 2 currently, not necessarily the biggest threat. Just, yeah, he doesn't want to waste the Minotaur either with that duel right there, waste some time. So he'll just come out of it and figure out what he wants to do next. Looks like he may go for some rune control in the meantime, but Keeper's also been doing, you know, what the best that he can. He's literally sitting here next to his tower, but he's just controlling the creep wave. He's pulling it back and really trying to reposition it so he can finally start getting some experience. But so far, that ain't
any yet.
No.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I think this wave that's on the medium camp now will bypass. Actually, wait, sorry. Strike that. My brain was confused. He's getting a double wave, but it's also going to meet their double wave in the future here after this easy camp dies, which is not actually what he wants, unless the creeps all die to the tower here and then the wave pushes. Then it'll be okay. He's going to get at least some creeps. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking out loud here. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's this whole lane control. It's one of those things like
it's tough to master. I will say,
yeah.
And it's also hard when you have two camps that you can pull and like redirect your own creep wave to. So it's definitely not easy to always make this work. But now that he's level 2, I think he should be fine here. It takes a lot of damage though. He might actually have to show himself here, but the stun's not up for 5 more seconds. But there's a slow on the Pearl. This could be the Bloodlust.
Sure is. The Wolf Time Bloodlust. That will be Bloodlust for Pearl. Yeah, you definitely feel for the Keeper. It is a very, very difficult time down there at that bottom lane, trying to just do what he can about that lane control. But if he finally gets a little bit of experience, you mentioned, finally level 2, and then he just dies right after. But, well, it's gonna happen, especially in a role like that. It's just a matter of, not letting it happen too many times. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that.
Now he's getting another full wave under tower, so hopefully he can collect more or less all of these last hits. Keeper does have high base damage, so he should be able to last it under tower relatively easily. And then he should be looking to go into Marchers so he can play around their spell range on bot lane.
Yeah, but what else with the whole lane control? Yeah, it is good. Listening to, like I said, to a very experienced player like yourself, thinking out loud about it. Because honestly, a player like myself, and I gotta think, so many others, support. You gotta kind of just pull lanes just because. It's not just like, hey, I'm bored. Let's pull. I know there's like moments that you should be looking to do it in certain matchups, and it kind of fucks with the lane if you do it at certain times when you shouldn't be. But it's like stuff like that you're not really thinking about. But when you're at this level of play, you do have to understand a bit more of how that lane control can be repositioned and
also when the neutrals are stacked, they can just kill the more so when they're triple stacked, but they can just kill the creep waves in full deny. So like for example, if the medium camp is doubled and the Pearl pulls their own wave into a doubled medium, that could deny like 4 creeps to Keeper straight up.
Wow. Yeah.
Because if the neutrals are last hitting them, there's no experience given.
There's a mid lane there, so sorry about that. But mid lane Bat Blast just almost blew up the Kraken. It was not enough damage though. Demented Shaman is here and gonna start healing him up, get some regen. So Fallen One thought he had the kill. Definitely don't commit that unless you think you do, but comes up just shy. Yeah, need to be careful himself now as Kraken went in to perhaps try to make a play, but no release the Kraken, of course, with the blink. Doesn't want to risk it there.
Parasite here as well.
Oh, nice release. Very defensive release the Kraken, but it does ensure that he is going to get away at least.
Unfortunately, he was tanking tower because the creep wave all had died, so it was a pretty good timing from Parasite to grip him there. And yeah, he had to use the defensive release the Kraken, which is not what you want. Top lane, British Shaman cape is off. He is done for. And bot lane, Dust comes out on Keeper. 1 TP's coming in.
Well, 1 TP. Who is it? Is it going to matter? Probably not. Wretched Ag gets there a little bit too late.
He's actually... He needs to be careful now. There's a Lunateer on the hammer. 5 seconds he has a stun. Luckily he has the illusion buff because his flash is back up. Otherwise it wasn't, with only being a level 1 flash, that's a 12-second cooldown normally, but now it's an 8-second cooldown. And that 4 seconds could have actually mattered.
Yeah, understandable wanting to save his teammate there, but that would have been an absolute disaster if he also dies. Now, with that said, Hag is having to just kind of walk back to base. They're possibly going to lose this tower. Keeper's doing his best to keep it alive, and will do so, actually, for now. So, no tower kill. Wild Hunter, Parasite's in. Wants the kill on Pearl. Gonna go for a combo, but Pearl's, I guess, a little too tanky. She's fine. Not enough, so Parasite.
It's actually leveling the leech on Parasite too. Typically, you want to max out Infest earlier to farm faster. But the problem with Parasite as a hero is, like in this earlier stages, his combo damage is really low. Like he can't really like solo kill people. Even with level 3 of the leech, he's only dealing 450 magic total minus reduction, which is not a lot at all. In the big picture. So typically when you play Parasite, you want to like get that level 4 Infest really fast and just keep farming. And then once you get like the Codex timing, which is like around in the 7 to 8 minute range, then you have like the necessary damage to pick off these like supports. So I actually don't even know if he's gonna go Codex this game. He only has Strider's Chalice and 1000 gold. The Codex is 2540, I believe. Yeah. So he's still pretty far off that build if he wants to go for it. But top lane, dive comes out.
Oh! It wasn't enough, and Pearl shows up, throws up the heal. Lodestone actually is going to live for now.
Big Bat Blast
used though, so maybe not the head smash, so they will kill Lodestone. Does some good damage to Madman, but it's not going to be enough for a return, or is it? Kraken, release the Kraken, hits Parasite, kinda. He needs another auto attack. He is going to get it, but now Silent. Well, Silent's actually feeling fine still. He's got that double damager, and yeah, Hag's the one that needs to be careful. Not commit too much. So finally we have a really first big clash of the game. Really ends up being back and forth, though. Not too decisive either way.
Really like how Kraken chased after the Parasite and waited for his splash to come back up, because he knew he only had... he was only going to be able to hit him one more time, because then the Parasite would get out of range, and he needed that splash to actually kill him, even with the DD. A good presence of mind from Kraken to make that calculation.
Mm-hmm. But I guess the big picture, though, again, it's one of those, it's like to take a step back and take a look at everything else that's going on. I mean, Hammerstorm obviously just continues his free farm bottom, and if they push in that bottom tower, he's going throughout the jungle right now, which has a couple of stacks in it. He's going to hit upwards of 500 gold per minute here shortly. He's got the Elder Parasite, so start seeing that accelerate more and more. How about Madman, though, on the other side? Does have a Sustainer, and of course going to work towards that Rune Cleaver to try to keep on par with the Hammerstorm best he can. Uh-oh, Monarch. Chrysalis gonna help keep him alive initially. Lowstone, though, the head smash is too much damage, but he and Demented Shaman go down in return, so not the fight you hoped for if you're new generation right there. Bottom lane, Keeper of the Forest. Gonna root TP, gonna go for it. It's not enough, though. The bubble pushes him away, and Keeper of the Forest beat down by Ball Sauce.
I think Monarch could have actually removed the Chrysalis and ran away. The Parasite came in with a Skelly Grip, with Lodestone under tower about to break Shatterstorm. And I think he could have maybe like got out of range, because he only died because he got hit by Shatterstorm into head smash. I think he could have maybe kited there. He didn't have boots, so it's like 50-50. At least the Kraken misses on the Hag. She blinks away, but not gonna matter actually. But does get her bats off.
That was great. Actually, the Bat Blast was huge. I mean, it kills Kraken in the process. So basically an eye for an eye right there. Parasite unable to take out Pearl. Again, she is just a little too tanky. She maxed out Soothing Presence. So, yeah, she's got a big heal right there. That clearly is doing work this game. But, yeah, that was quite the exchange between the Hag and the Kraken going at it. But follow to one another. I was just about to say a couple of minutes ago how slow this game is, especially in comparison to the first two, but it is starting to pick up now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's picking up these last couple of minutes, though, so that's for sure.
So, Breaky, I want to get your take on the Parasite pick. I feel like it's been underwhelming. He's only 233 gold per minute. And you saw there, like, he couldn't even burst down the Pearl. As Hag gets caught behind her tower.
I can't sugarcoat that. Yeah, no, I'm with it. It's definitely not been a great Parasite game, and it kind of goes back to Parasite against more of these defensive supports, especially, and also the fact that he was basically laning with a very passive. Literally, Keeper of the Forest was sitting at his own tower for the first 3 minutes of the game. Like, I feel like you kind of need. Ideally, you'd have more of an aggressive off lane or even like a dual off lane to work with, right? That you can make some plays with. But it hasn't necessarily been the best opportunities in this game, to his credit. But
I think it comes back to like his choice to level out in the Leech over the Infest. Like, he's not really focusing on his farm. He's been trying to make plays, but it's like they're almost like forced plays. Like, he can't really secure kills on these heroes, like you said. They're defensive supports, a Lodestone, a Kraken, like, they're very tanky, even a Hammerstorm. Like, who can he realistically gank and burst? There's not really any good options. So I think it comes back to, like, the mindset. He should have been thinking more so to just hit his timings. Because like I pointed out, you want to hit that, like, 7-minute, 8-minute Codex timing if you're going to go for that. I have no idea what he's buying. He has 2,300 gold still saved up. And this is, by not spending this gold, it's every time he goes for a gank, that's less items he has to work with to try to assist him for kills. Root and Bat Blast coming out mid on Hammerstorm.
Again, Pearl there to save the day. This hero's so freaking good. Keeper of the Forest is also now in trouble. Shatterstorm doesn't really hit anybody, but New Generation is just going full beeline mode towards this Keeper, and they will run him down and get the kill. It's just another case. These supports. Oh, Monarch also gets caught, by the way. Kraken, Chrysalis, keeping her alive a little bit longer. But the Hasted Kraken is he is going off. Silent with the hat trick. He loves this hero. Had a fantastic Kraken game in Game 2 and doing it again here in Game 3.
Just keep picking the man, Kraken. He's performing.
Yeah, I think specifically Pearl is just a big issue. That maxed out Soothing Presence with the preservation as well. Every time it feels like Parasite tries to make a play, even Hack to an extent, like it gets stalled.
I would say Madman is still playing a really solid game as well. He's 530 GPM. He's not keeping up with the Hammerstorm, but I think that's mostly due to like kills and towers. Parasite getting caught. He dies.
Well, he's sitting on 2,500 gold still, by the way. I don't know what to think of that. When he buys a PK after he dies.
Yeah, as an experienced Parasite player, I would say that going PK like this, when all you have to work with is a level 4 Leech and a level 1 Facehug, he's only doing like around 500 damage, and you have to calculate armor as well. Like 500 damage on your hero that you pick to more or less free farm is like hardly anything. He cannot even solo kill these supports, so
yeah, I don't know.
I hate to say it, but this Parasite pick is not working out for them. And I had this fear when I saw the draft because like they picked the Keeper first, right?
Yeah.
Keeper screams to me team fight, and Parasite screams to me gank. And if you pick heroes that have opposite synergy, you're gonna get situations like this where things don't work out. What they could have done if they wanted to run a jungler is I would have much rather seen something like a Draconis or a Tempest. Something that just like groups up and causes pressure. Whereas this Parasite is just not able to do that type of role this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. Obviously, they're kind of stuck in the situation. They're like having to figure out how to best go about this. I mean, you mentioned Madman earlier. Doomy's doing his part. He's having a solid game. He's got the Rune Cleaver, a lifesteal now. He is somewhat keeping up with the Hammerstorm, and especially considering the situation of this game, that is pretty impressive. But we haven't really seen anything out of the Madman in terms of a big team fight yet. I mean, he's 3-0-1, so obviously he's still getting stuff done. But that timing's coming on the Legion side, where Hammerstorm, he's gonna feel that point of like, all right, let's start making plays now. He's gonna go for another ancient stack here. I mean, he's got a BKB and lower Parasite, so I don't know if there's another item that he's necessarily waiting for before they really kind of start grouping up and pushing. But
no, I would say he could look to do Kong pretty soon if he wants to, or they could just group up and go for like top tower, for example. I would say he's probably gonna go. Oh, Mighty Blade. Is he going Frostwolf Skull? What is that gonna be? It's gotta be Frostwolf Skull, right? It's either that or Staff.
Bottom.
And I don't think he's gonna build Staff.
Well, they kill Kraken. That's big. Parasite does come in with a blink, kills Kraken. However, now taking the stuff from Hammerstorm and gets beat down himself. So it is a 1-for-1, but still favoring side of hard to communicate. They will take that Kraken kill.
Actually, I will say, like, thinking about it, I think the Frostwolf could be really good here because they have a Madman and a Keeper who are invis. The Wolves can scout those players, and then the lockdown from the second activation of the Wolves, like rooting them, is so good against heroes like Madman and Hag who are very slippery. And Hammerstorm's problem is going to be staying on targets, right? I was going to say he should go for a PK, but I actually think the Frostwolf Skull makes more sense. So I actually really like this build he's going for.
That is true, yeah. This kind of goes back to those supports. As great as they are defensively, they're not necessarily the best at keeping things in front of Hammerstorm to just smash into. So, yeah, I could see that certainly. That's the direction he ends up going right there. Lodestone obviously getting picked off at the top lane. It's well played actually by Wretched Hag. Falling on one, did a good job of kiting around him, avoiding the Shatterstorm and taking him out once he was exposed. So honestly, a couple of pickoffs here and there with the Kraken bottom, the Lodestone top, and I think hard to communicate is slowing this down to where they're able to feel a little more comfortable now. Keeper of the Forest, seeing if he's close to anything now. Not really. He's just kind of just has some standard items early on. Ghost Marchers, that Ring of the Teacher.
Yesterday I saw him go Sorcery Boots into PK. So he's not actually doing that style of build this game. I'm not sure if he'll upgrade this Bracer into anything. It might just be like a laning phase Bracer.
Yeah.
Kraken catches Hag. I think that was the Release the Kraken, right? Yeah, he has Illusion Rune, so he actually has Release the Kraken back up in 50 seconds. I had to double check because the cooldown was so low. I was like, I think he had ultimate there, and he did.
And he's gonna have the staff as well at this rate.
Yeah, that got buffed last patch. I don't know if you remember, but yeah, it's pretty nifty now. I think it applies a superior magic stun for 1 second, as well as I think it ups the immobilize duration, the damage, and then it also makes splash go to, is it 3 seconds?
It's splash on steroids when he's in the ultimate.
Oh wait, sorry, not 3 seconds. It's yeah, permanent splash when they're in the whirlpool. Have you been paying attention to the level 2 Kraken ultis, or even the level 3s?
That's something else I was actually going to mention after that last game, because I was watching it, and yeah, I did know it's definitely getting bigger.
Wait till you see level 3. He needs to hit level 16, and then I want you to see what it looks like. It goes up by 25 radius, so 50 diameter total per level.
That's coming. A little bit of time, but Kraken certainly with the momentum to have that at a pretty respectable time. So Wretched Hag avoids a fight right there, but Legion team is hunting for one. New Generation wants to find something. Kraken jumping in, Lodestone going in. Monarch is flapping those wings, though, pretty heavily, and manages to avoid getting jumped right there. So, yep, it is interesting, though, because, again, when you look at just like these on a very basic level of the lineups and who you think could be the ones being the aggressor trying to go for ganks, you would definitely think the Hellborn team, but it really feels like the Legion side is the one trying to go for these ganks right now. Unable to connect, though.
So timings right now for Hellborn, they're trying to get Madman his Shrunken Head finished. He either just bought the Mighty Blade or he has the full Shrunken. I think he has the full Shrunken, honestly, because he's 630 GPM. And the Elder Parasite is not that big of a built-up investment post-Cleaver. So he's sending something out now, and it should be the full Shrunken. And that's really big for them because now... Whoa!
Hammer?
Can he get it off, though? No, he can't. I mean, even if he got it off, I don't know if he would have been able to... He had Elder cooldown, so I don't think he could have actually turned that.
So both carries were getting jumped by the other team. Both carries were by themselves at complete opposite sides of the map. And they both get jumped and killed. So while you were watching Madman there, Hammer
classic
Storm,
carry players,
right?
no
It's like, come
awareness.
on, guys, this is a team game. How many times do I have to say this? God.
Support, where are you? Help me.
Right? Like, oh, I'm busy killing the other carry, but yeah, go figure.
Yeah. So, and also Wretched Hag is not going Grimoire, at least now. She picks up a Glowstone, which has to suggest that she's going for a Staff of the Master, which is still a very strong pickup on the Hag, just doesn't make her able to flash farm as quickly and deal as much damage right now. But once he gets the Staff, he will have superior magic damage, which can ulti through the Hammer Storm Shrunken. That's pretty important to note. I'm not sure if that will be necessarily better than having a Grimoire power, because Hag could be looking to just try to delete the backline as initiation bottom.
Oh, Pearl got jumped first by Parasite, but that did not matter. Parasite's the one that gets blown up, and eventually the bubble goes down for Pearl. Shrunken at Madman. It wears off, though. Gonna be purged on up, slowed on down. The Shadow Storm connects. Madman has to get out. He is completely exposed right now. Wretched Hag, Relay Star Kraken connects perfectly by Silent. This guy, you're banning that hero no matter what happens after this game. He is just on fire with their back-to-back games. Wretched Hag did not stand a chance. Keeper of the Forest. Can he get away? He's trying. He's chugging along, and he will be successful in the end. But again, big picture, they did all of that without Hammer Storm being there, mind you. Who now?
Hammer wasn't even there. That's not good news.
No, he's like, oh hey guys, what's going on? Oh, 2 are dead. Okay, cool. Let's push the tower. He still has his. Oh, he pops ultimate, I guess. For
this tower also has Keeper armor.
Doesn't look like it. Pushback's gonna miss. Parasite able to avoid that, but I mean, Root's down. Oh no, Root is up actually. So they have Keeper Root. They feel like they can initiate the defensive Storm Cloud throwing out though. More difficult to commit there. Parasite gonna be jump. Speaking of commitment, the push on push action. Parasite, he is just dead. The Root finally comes out, but there's the BKB. Madman in the midst of it, trying to clean people down. Go for Lowstone. The Bat Blast as well hits. Down goes Dimension Shaman, and now Kraken's in a lot of trouble. Hammerstorm's gonna go for the TP play. No one's gonna be stopped. Hammerstorm will be killed, and so will Kraken. So it works out for Hard to communicate. At least in hero kills. They do kill 4. They did lose their racks, though.
Yeah, big picture is the resources are still very, very much in favor of Legion, even though they lost 4 players. So I would say they're pretty happy with getting that racks overall, even if it came at a cost of 2 double taps for both the Hag and the Madman.
Yeah, that's I had to double check there. No buybacks used either.
Yeah.
By HTC, so that's better news as well. But it is still 11,000 net worth lead. You got the Frost of Skull on Hammerstorm.
Hag finished off after that fight. She didn't have it previously.
Sure.
And she's got level 16 right around the corner. 1 to 2 creeps. We'll give her the level 3 ultimate. And that will deal 750 superior magic damage in AoE on a... is it 80-second cooldown? I think it's 80 seconds, right?
For the ultimate, yes, I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, tooltips are sometimes weird in HoN. Anyway, do you think he should upgrade anyone with the legacy, or do you think he should just skip that idea and go into something else, like Grimoire, like Resto Stone, something massive?
I feel like, I know, I'm kind of looking through the Staff of the Master upgrades on this Hellborn team. Madman's could be interesting. It's one of those he would never get it himself, but yeah, if you can buff him with the Staff, that could potentially be pretty good. I don't know if that's necessarily what we're looking to do, though, but maybe the Cleansing Wind buff, too, on Monarch. Also not a bad option.
Yeah, for the movement speed, the second application of the effect.
Those are the only 2 that I don't think the other ones are as worth it, unless you want Parasite to be infesting some Ancients over here.
Maybe if he had more than 206 GPM, I would think that could be an option.
Well, what is he building, by the way?
Have you ever seen Raid Boss Parasite? I have some shorts on my YouTube with some Dread Beetle Parasites with Mock and Demonic. It's pretty fun, but not really that common.
Let's go. Keeper, he's dead. Gets caught by the Kraken and the follow-up Hag. Those are just illusions, but No, that's what was back to Parasite though. What is he building? I'm not familiar. What it is?
That's a puzzle box.
That is puzzle. Okay, cool.
It's a very late puzzle box.
Very late puzzle. Yeah, and better late than never, I suppose. But it still doesn't have it. But obviously the intention is there, and he is gonna go in. But again, Hammerstone does PKPs and Parasite melts right after the fact. Hag got the Bat Blast off, but that staff doesn't seem like it's necessarily the biggest threat, though. Madman, the life still keeps him alive. He takes out Lodestone, and Madman manages to barely stay alive, but the Rax is being destroyed by this Legion team. New generation. 2 Rax are down, and let's just back up, they say. Mission accomplished.
I will say, Breaky, for being at a 2 Rax disadvantage, the fact that the lead is only 12k is honestly not that much. I mean, 12k is a pretty big number, don't get me wrong. But normally when games get to this state, you see more of that like 20k, 25k difference. And 12k is honestly not that big. But I think what it comes down to is like the way that the Hellborn team drafted. They have like a Keeper Root and a Hag ulti, right? And then they have a Farm Madman hitting, but they just don't have like that same backline presence that the Legion side has. You can feel like the presence of the pro. You can feel the presence of the Demented Shaman in the team fights, right? Whereas like the Parasite, he blinks and he ultis one guy, presses Q, and then they just get healed up, and it's like he didn't do anything at all. And that's not necessarily at the fault of the player, but more so like just Parasite just doesn't offer anything compared to what these supports are doing.
He's slightly buffed on melee creep. It's true. It's there's just no way around it at this point. I'm kind of almost thinking like I'm almost chuckling at the stop, but have him just take over an aura unit and just.
They had no token, right? I mean, they were pushing high ground without a. They were pushing into the Hellborn base, which gives Hellborn positioning advantage for Keeper Root Hag Blast. So, like, if they're able to get the jump, they could delete the backline right away. But even like 12,000 gold lead, that should theoretically be possible. But based on the heroes that are in the game, it's just the lead looks bigger than it is.
I mean, Madman is that absolute reason, and he's level 20. He just got his Oblivion Hammer.
He's literally the same GPM as the Hammerstorm.
Yeah.
If we look at the damage charts, he's even outputting more damage.
They're going. They're going. That's going to be a catch though by Kraken in the back. That Bat Blast goes through, hits multiple. Parasite doing what he can. The bubble's down. Kraken is dead. Madman tearing through. He is a bit of a threat right now. Hammerstorm going toe to toe.
They're both trying to bash each other.
Who's going for the ages? It looks like Hammerstorm's going to win though when it's all said and done. Parasite taking over that Minotaur in the meantime. Monarch coming in. Hammerstorm trying to figure out who the hell he can kill still. It looks like it is going to be Monarch. He goes to him. The Staff of the Master effect on him. Got the Superman in here.
Oh, I didn't even realize it. Yeah, Kraken staffed the hammer. That's a extra item now that the hammer has as well.
Yep. Well, that was, I mean, Madman definitely showed that he is not a hero that you can feel like you're going to defeat just yet, but...
At the very beginning of, like, the fight, like, more toward the front half, when the Madman was hitting the hammer, he was actually winning in the beginning. But then, like, the longer the fight went, you could see that, like, Madman's, like, effectiveness started to wear down, and then the hammer was just took over. Because, you know, he's hitting pretty hard.
Yeah, which makes it... I mean, I'm sitting... Obviously, it's easy to say this in hindsight. I think Madman maybe should have been going for more of the support.
Parasite just gets four-shot.
Yeah, Parasite did not stand a chance. Yeah, Hag doesn't stand a chance either. And none of this Keeper, no! Oh my gosh, a hat trick with barely any life.
MVP tower.
He finally goes down.
If the Hellborn can't bring down Hammer, the tower will do the job.
It will. All right, so New Generation's gonna fall back with their leader down for another 60 seconds. Loso with a sheep stick, by the way, too. He's had that for a little bit.
Yeah, I did notice actually that he shipped the Hag, I think, in the last fight. Maybe even used it twice. I'm not entirely sure about that, but the Shatterstorm missed, unfortunately, because the Hag was able to blink after the ship wore off away from the Lodestone. So a little bit mistimed, but it's still like it's a great pickup that they have a ship sub 30 minutes on the Lodestone. He's had a pretty big impact this game, even with the 4-5 stat line. Perfect timing, I would say, for a sheep stick.
You get the refresher on keeper. You still don't have a chance. I mean, I'm sitting here like maybe there's a data. Probably not.
And isn't it wild to say that? Because normally, like, when Keeper hits a resto timing, that's like a crazy power spike that the zero hits.
Yeah.
Being able to have 4 extra seconds of lockdown at level 3 ultimate for your team if you're able to stagger them 4 and 4 apart. But yeah, I think I'm with you here. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I would hope. Yeah, there we go. Okay, he armors the tower. I was going to be very picky. I was commenting on this yesterday as well. Always keep armoring those towers when you're playing Keeper. Very good here.
Yeah.
He's going to want to armor this tier 4 as well. Nice. He's reading my mind.
Well played. Well played, Strack. All right, so yeah, it's Hellboy team though in that spy. They're kind of moving around in the map or in their base together. I was going to say, you figure they're setting up. They're going to go for a team smoke. Yeah, this is that desperation. This is that last-ditch effort. No refresher yet on Keeper, but go for the pick. Got the lead. Oh, in the mid-combo. Bat Blast hitting a couple and not Hammer Storm, though. He just jumps in the sheep on Hag, and she is dead before she knows it. The root hits. Madman trying to go for that supporting catch. About to release the Kraken and catches him. And
it's
that
level
is
3
scary,
breaking.
man.
It's a level 3 Kraken ulti.
Holy crap. Well,
Did you
that
see
might
the
just
Kraken
do
ulti?
it. It's hard to miss.
It's on your screen. It's so big. Alright, so that one will go to New Generation as well. So they have won back-to-back games now, right? They took game 2 and 3. So riding some momentum. Let's go, New Generation. 2-1 now in their favor.
And I go back to it's maybe a very simple thing to say. I know there's a lot more to it, but you ban Kraken if you're HTC this next game. That's clearly a hero that Silent is very comfortable playing in back-to-back games. He definitely controlled the tempo. He was the one that obviously a team effort certainly, but don't let him get that Kraken in game number 4. That's gonna be the first thing.